everybody. Thanks for tuning into Border City Rock Talk. We get great news, great interviews, great interviewees with sometimes a comedic touch. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and comment below. Today I have the legend of Australia, one of them, angry or not very happy sometimes. Angry Anderson, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. People often ask me, and have done for years and years, like, "Are you still angry?" Because when we first started off, nearly 50 years ago, which is why we're going to bring the whole thing to a close in the end of 26, New Year's Eve 26 will be our last show, and because we started 50 years ago on New Year's Eve, 75 into 76. Anyway, that's the story about the 50-year anniversary. Close it off, close that book, close that page, whatever. But and they say, like, what do you? And I say, yeah, I still enjoy the nickname because it's a great nickname. I'm known throughout the country or around the world as Angry Anderson, not so much my real name. So yes, I still enjoy the name, but these days I'm angry as an emotional response to many other things than I was in the early days. That was to deal with the darkness in my own life, surviving pedophilia and being raised into my teen years, within domestic violence, which my mother and I suffered at the hands of that. But so what happens over time is everything changes, obviously. But yeah, I'm very angry about some of the injustices of the modern day life and some of the absurdities as well. But anyway, listen, before I go any further, this new backdrop of yours, right? So obviously you've generated that somehow with Photoshop or whatever, but cats with baseball bats.
Oh no. I was doing this as an Australian tribute. Aren't those wombats?
The
No, I
wombat,
found it.
the wombat has got nothing to do with the bat. The
Oh,
wombat
okay.
is no, they're cats. But having said that, I was just wondered about it. It was very quirky, much like yourself.
Yeah,
But
let me know if they get too close.
it's a the thing about it is, no, I've got a rather monstrous dog here. When I say monstrous, I mean he's a pushy cat, but when he's roiled up, she's roiled up. She can. I have Staffordshires mainly as my dogs. But having said that, the thing about wombats is, and you should, for your own edification, you should uh, Google up a wombat because they're an amazing creature. And I remember years and years ago reading a book written by an Australian, a naturalist of some description, but his expertise, having being Australian, was that he travels the world. He's written books about our natural flora and fauna. And one of the things that, like many countries, one of the things that we're, being an island continent, being cut off from.
Angry. I got to interrupt. For my viewers, we got to explain flora and fauna is like trees and flowers.
Well, yeah, flora is, yeah, fauna, yes, yeah, but basically, yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, trees and flowers and shrubs and blah, blah. But
Rubbish.
yeah, this bloke wrote a book and it was a rather enlightening book, and it was about the development of how once Australia has separated from the other land masses, a couple of million years ago, or a million years ago, or maybe whatever. But yeah, so our flora and fauna developed, obviously without any influence from the outside world. So
Right.
yeah, so I mean, it's just one of those things. It's kind of like like there's only one place in the world where you find grizzly bears.
That's right. That's right.
isn't
And
it?
there's only one. I think you only find the Tasmanian devil on Tasmania.
Tasmania, absolutely. Hence the name Tasmanian Devil. Now, talking about grizzly bears, what's your view on Bigfoot?
I know that a lot of people or women that I know say that it's not accurate. Bigfoot. Way over your head there. You know what? Bigfoot,
There's a great gag attached to that. You know what
yeah,
they say about men with big feet, and
that's
the person says, "What?" And they go, "Well, they wear big shoes."
that's
Um,
right. Expensive. I mean, their shoes are expensive. But with
yeah,
Bigfoot, you know what? I used to follow a show called Art Bell, and he used to talk about UFOs, government conspiracies, Sasquatch, Bigfoot. I don't know what to think about Bigfoot, for instance. It's like the UFOs. You'd think if they, you never get that crisp, clean shot of them. You always have blurry. But there's a lot of people that swear that they've been abducted and stuff. So with Bigfoot, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
uh, okay. This might be sort of pulling too many loose ends together to make one, but in recent times, I've seen some stuff on FaceFart, and we've all learnt that we can't believe everything we see because there's photoshopping and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But some of the hidden knowledge of the world, and there definitely has been historically attempts to diffuse, disguise, devalue, or debunk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there's enough evidence to physical evidence. Supposedly, I've seen it written in books before. FaceBut
Yeah.
got a hold of it, but about that there was once an era where people were like 9, 10 feet tall.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, for sure. Even in the Bible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're even talking about the. I read this very interesting thing the other day, and I think it was on Google Tube or Facebook, one of the two, and it was just sort of saying, well, maybe the early uh, dinosaurs weren't the modern day depiction of dinosaurs, but maybe they were what we call mythical creatures, but they were
Right.
real creatures uh, that were written about or told about in stories. And like the centaur and
Yeah.
dragons and sea serpents and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, like with what's the name, Nessie, in Loch Ness
Loch
in
Ness.
Scotland. Yeah. So, but I think there's. I've always learned through the era of having closing your mind off to anything or anything, any possibility or probability, and they're two entirely different things. But um, there's very few things that are impossible,
Absolutely.
supposedly,
Yeah.
and there is a probability that some fantastic things are actually true.
Oh, I believe that 100%. 100%. I have a hard time thinking we're the only species on our planet. If the
There
scientists
you
tell
go.
us that there's that many billion stars and all this stuff, it's like, you either have to be religious and be devout to your own doctrine, or
Mm.
if you're not, then I would say your mind is open. Not to say that if you're religious, you don't have an open mind. I don't want to get any angry fans. Oh, angry comes up again. And there's Happy Anderson. I like your smile.
Absolutely. Well,
But
there's like I said, there was a time when there was a lot of darkness in my life, and then there was, and that's not so anymore. It hasn't been for a long time because I was able to resolve those issues or accommodate those things. But they were an integral part like so nothing, get to the spiritual concept, which is sound and true, that nothing in life is wasted, even pain. In fact,
Right.
I say on stage most nights that pain is our greatest teacher and our constant companion, because without it, there's no incentive to grow, because adapting to something like loss or
Right.
or whatever it may be, like you might sort of sit and wonder for a few years, like, well, why can't my dreams come true? Well, maybe you're not working hard enough, or maybe you haven't grasped the concept that you're destined for another path.
Right.
Maybe your dreams aren't your destiny. Anyway,
Right.
all too many people, these days have aspirations of greatness, if you like, mainly
Yeah.
about wealth.
I was just gonna say
Because,
money and greed.
yeah, well, you see, what they've done is that they've reinstated, in biblical terms, and it's not only just in the Holy Bible our accepted Bible. Uh, it's a spiritual concept being handed down through the ages, but the obsession, with greed is a manifestation of being able to direct us away from our spiritual being, because the spiritual being does not need physical gratification, because it's a spiritual concept.
You live in the
Now it
now.
can, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And so once the people that can even just get a grasp of just the just the beginning of the understanding of that, are going to lead I think are going to lead a better, because it'd be more productive life, but there's going to be a happier life. And when I think about my childhood, I took shelter in joy, which is a natural thing to do. So whether I got it from reading books, or whether I got it with playing with my childhood friends, etc., or components of my family, because family is such a wonderful physical manifestation of the inner joy, um,
Right.
which is why they've worked so hard to destroy the family unit, because they realize that it spiritually represents the unity that we
Yeah.
not only seek for, to unify my soul with my existence, with my physical form, whatever. They
Right.
don't want that to happen, but they've worked very hard at breaking down the cohesive elements within any
Family unit.
civilized society. Yeah, well, it starts with the family unit. Anyway,
So this concludes philosophical Tuesday with Angry Anderson. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? I always like talking to you because I learn a lot. You're very well read. Obviously, those books behind you aren't just for show, and we always have some good chats on different things. But I want to talk about Hard Road.
yeah,
That's your most recent. You haven't released a single or made music in what? How many years?
since 2009.
Right. And so actually you'll be surprised to know this. I saw you singing that show at the Bridge Hotel. That's all.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it on
What?
YouTube.
Someone filmed it? For God's
Yeah.
sake!
You
Well,
didn't know
what
that?
the single hard road?
Yeah, you didn't know that? It's on YouTube.
Ah, no, I don't watch. I
Oh,
know. I just feel a little uncomfortable. Every now and again, someone in the band will send me something and go like, "Watch this. We're on fire." And so I watch it, and then I think, yeah, no, it's good. But having said that, the history behind the single, like when we
yeah.
say about the last recording, because we're working on songs now for a new album, but which Hard Road will be a part of, obviously.
Okay.
Um, but the relationship with Stevie Wright as a performer and a singer songwriter goes back a long, long, long way, with right back to the Easy Beats for me personally. And I've
Mm,
always loved Stevie, God rest his soul. Um, I always loved him as a performer, and but really loved him as a lyricist. And of course, we enjoyed the relationship with George and Harry because he was in a band with them, the Easy Beats, and they produced all his solo stuff and helped him write some of those iconic tunes which he's known for in Australia. And so on the Blood Brothers album, we were looking for some tracks to, and I remember saying, well, I think we should possibly look at Stevie Wright, like as a writer, because I wanted to acknowledge him musically by, giving him some sort of, recognition within the band, or me as a solo artist, really.
Right.
And Stephen King, who's back playing bass with the band now, he played on that album. And I said, well, Hard Road, but it's a bit early for me to do Hard Road, because I imagined it in a romantic sense that it would fit where it's fitting now, which is towards the end of our journey. And it's been a hard road. It's been a great road, but like any hard experience, it's well worth having. So
Right.
we're not crying, oh, it's been a hard road. It quite purposefully so. I mean, and any band or artist will tell you this, you get the best out of yourself as an artist, in my case, as a lyricist and a singer, because I draw on those experiences. So I remember when we covered Black Eyed Bruiser, which is a Stevie Wright song. And anyway, it came up so good in the studio, we decided it actually came out in Europe as a single. And so we covered it, and I sent it because Stevie was still alive then. And I sent him the copy, and he loved it. He loved our treatment because he was a big fan, because of the whole Albert's connection, the
Right.
family.
Yeah.
So so he loved our version because it was, as he said, it sounds like it was written for the Tats. And I said, well, yeah. And I said, well, that's what I loved about when we cover one of those songs. And because he wrote those songs about his personal experiences as a singer-songwriter, a singer in one of the greatest bands that Australia ever produced, the Easy Beats, and which were huge during the 60s. And anyway, long story short, I said to him at that time, because he was terminally ill, and I said to him, I said, the next song I'd like to do of yours is Hard Road. And he said, I said, I kind of feel like it was written for me. And he said, well, it was, because it's written about it was written about the character that leaves, in the lyrics, it says, Mum and Dad, I'm leaving home, leaving school, going out on the road, playing a rock and roll band. And that's the romantic story of anyone that's played in a rock and roll band or will. So because he like any great songwriter wrote from his own personal experiences, about his own personal experiences, because of his own personal experiences, as I've always tried to do. But at the same time, when you write something that's so personal, automatically you connect with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world who feel the same thing.
Yeah.
And they may not everybody has left home to join a rock and roll band, but they've had that spirit of adventure that like, what? I'm going to try and do this, and that's how companies are started, and that's how
taking a risk.
People how they realize their dreams, and that's what Hard Road's about. It's about the journey. It's about all those romantic concepts that to do with rock and roll personified in a song, and it is about the journey. It is about when you first decide to go out on your own, to test yourself and try living life in the most vibrant, robust way that you can, which is, that's a task given to all of us. And sadly, not everyone steps up to the plate, so to speak. Not everyone sort of. Yeah, so I knew you'd say that. Well, as I was saying it, I thought, oh, of course the baseball
Baseball
bats.
bat.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the sadnesses about why so many directionless young people seem to be, they're embracing the absurd. It's they don't really. I mean, I'm not a trained therapist, but I've done a lot. I did quite a bit of therapy for quite some years back then, to work out my own motivations, etc. Get rid of the demons and embrace the light, so to speak,
Mm.
which is a purposeful and a true process, I might add. So I recommend it to anybody.
Right.
But because once you allow light into your life, the darkness just runs away. But having said that, yeah, so I I just realised that the road, and that's always been the road less travelled, and in spiritual works, many spiritual works, which some of them are in these bookcases behind me. The road is a metaphor, for, well, your travel through life, your journey through
Yeah.
life. And so hard road it's come out at a purposeful time and an apt time, because it's a joyous journey. But to be joyous, you have to have endured
Yeah.
obstacles,
Yeah.
pain, tribulation, to overcome them is the joy.
Yeah. If there's no obstacles and reasons to rejoice after you've overcome them, you're just existing.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's lost on a lot of young people, because I think that they are um, looking for what religion used to give young people, and not entirely, but I think I've been talking about a bit about it, because I'm doing a book, or as a publishing house here in Australia wants to do a book on me. And I remember the 70s, the time of, particularly mind expanding drugs. But we discovered, the wonders of pure LSD and peyote, and, not the addictive drugs like heroin, although I smoked a bit of heroin, poppy, opium, for quite some time there, on and off. Luckily I wasn't addicted to it, but it gave us great insights to things, and
Yeah.
in because we need to free ourselves from the imposed restraints of thinking and
Right.
feeling, which is the main thing, feeling, which is
Yeah.
why I endorse therapy, because I years and years ago went into psychotherapy to try and get rid of my demons, and it worked for me. So I can personally endorse it,
Yeah.
as an experience, if you embrace it with the right amount of truth, if you like. You have to be
Yeah. Honest.
with yourself to the point where it's painful,
Right.
but also other people around you. Like when I talked about my childhood abuse at the hands of a pedophile, my mother was just brokenhearted. She was shattered, and she said, I didn't know, didn't I? I said, no, Mum. I said, well, for a child, it's very hard to articulate that.
Mm-hmm.
But which is why, society, we've moved on to the point now where we are empowering children to be able to express those
Yeah.
feelings and emotions, and also to be aware, that these things can happen and do happen. But working towards a better society in a spiritual sense, which is why I'm so angry. I'm angry about what the social engineering that's going on, because
Yeah.
they're trying to introduce another era of Sodom and Gomorrah where sexual deviation is the norm, and
Yeah.
it's a very destructive concept. And to
Yeah.
do what they're doing to children these days,
Oh yeah.
like I was watching this thing on the Google Tube the other day, and it was a young girl, and it's it's everywhere at the moment. I think it's even on FaceFart or one or the other. But there's a young girl, and she's bare chested, and she's got two. She's only in her teens. She's got two scars. She's had her breasts taken off, and she's in hospital with her best friend. And the best friend's just had her breasts just taken off, and they're rejoicing in the liberation of being liberated from their nature-given gender. Even
Yeah.
if they don't want to be women, don't disfigure themselves in the
Well,
effort
and
to
they're
be.
probably they're allowing that sort of thing in a lot of Western countries at absurd
Yeah,
ages before they give them a driver's license. They, oh, you want to be this or you want to be that? Go ahead, have the surgery. I mean, it's to me, I don't understand. Well, I've got my opinions. I don't want to lose subscribers, but I mean, it's just to me, it's insane.
it is insane because it goes against the wonderment, the divine Mother Nature, the creational process, whatever terminology you like to employ. It is a real, true. It's one of the fundamental, if not. Well, let me clarify my feelings, my beliefs. It is the truth, the natural order of all things, and you can
Yeah,
start with the cosmos, and you
yeah,
can come right down to the manifestation of all that in the microcosm, which is our Earth, our existence. There's the beauty of it. There's the natural, pardon me, the natural order of things.
yeah.
And to sort of deny that, and to purposefully manipulate people to not only deny it, but to dress it up as, well, it's lie. It's a fiction.
Mhm.
There are more than two genders. No, there fucking aren't. I'm sorry. That's
Well,
just the
yeah,
way it is.
sure, sure.
There's deviations,
Yeah,
and we all accept that because
well, yeah,
part of our good nature is benevolence or acceptance, if you like.
yeah.
So, but that you can't change. You can't. It's like in 1984. You can't say black is white. It'll never be white.
Right.
Black is black. Well, we've identified that color in the color spectrum. Well, it's not actually in the color spectrum, as we both know, but your black is not white. Up is not down. Right is not wrong. These are
Unless
principles.
you're in 2025, then all those things are right. It's
Now,
insane.
absolutely, it is insane. Now, I just need to. Actually, I'll get around to this later because I remember the other day I mentioned. Did I mention to you? I meant to that I'd received a letter some years ago now, 2010, so 14 years ago, and I just found this in old papers, and it was from this beautiful young lady, um, Deb Lillis, Thousand Island Parkway, Gananoque, 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 yeah, Gananoque, Ontario.
Huh?
Now I'm going to write. I only found this in recent times, and obviously it had been put away with other mail from my previous management,
Right, right.
and yeah, and it's a beautiful, beautiful letter, and I just want to. I'm going to write to that address in an effort to see if whoever lives there now, maybe they still live there, but
Maybe
whoever lives there, maybe
can
they
forward
might
it.
know a forward address. Yeah, but I was going to ask you for the favour
Mhm.
So what's the best way to, if you could sort of, because her and her father
Right,
are great fans of music,
right, right.
but she loves the tats.
You know what you
And
can do if you take a picture of that, including the name and the address it came from. If you send that to me through Cat, because
okay, that's what I was going to ask you.
algorithms algorithms on social media like Facebook and stuff, I might be able to contact her for you. And if I do, I'll definitely let her know to contact you.
Thank you, because I really, because it was sent to our management, but I no longer have that management. And this it's such a wonderful letter. I just thought if there's any possibility
Hmm.
that maybe her father's passed on in that time, sadly,
Right.
but there's every chance. See, there's a beautiful part here. It says, "Dad says I'm too young for eBay,
eBay.
but I do work every Sunday afternoon at the hockey rink
Yeah.
and would be able to pay for it." And she's asking for autographs, but she's willing to pay. It's like,
Oh, wow.
hey, yeah. So I will. I'll send this via
What's her first name?
Deb.
Deb? Okay.
Deb.
Yeah.
Deb Lillis. Deb. It's just DEB. Deb Lillis. Lillis. And it's,
Well,
is that how Ganokwe? Is that how you pronounce that?
I think that's near Ottawa, the capital of
It,
Canada.
it's Ganak
Ganokwe.
Ganakwe, or yeah, Ganakwe,
Yeah.
Ontario.
Yeah. I mean, Ontario's big, but it sounds like a French little town or something. So it's probably
Yeah.
near Ottawa. So I'll try to put on my Matlock hat and see what I can do.
Mate,
But
I'd be so appreciative, because
oh man, I
I was
wouldn't. I
just
would.
so struck by this letter.
No, I'd be honored to do it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, you've been very good to me over the years with the interviews. Speaking of road, you're starting a tour in what, March in West Hollywood.
Well, we've already started. We're taking a break. A couple of years
Okay,
ago, we did the Monsters of Rock tour,
remember that? Yep,
cruise,
yep.
and so they wanted us back, and we said, look, because they wanted us to come back, like miss a year, then come back, and then miss a year and come back. So we said, look, we were really flattered by that, but we said, look, we're at a difficult time, and it's wildly expensive to get from here into America these days,
Oh
United
yeah,
States of America,
yeah.
and the fees keep going up, because they
Uh-huh.
first of all they blamed the plague, and then they blamed the war in Ukraine, and then they blamed this and they blamed that and whatever. But anyway, long story short, so we're going. It's actually the week after next. Now that I think
That's right.
about it,
Yeah.
we're going to Los Angeles for a couple of days, and we're going to rehearse, because we're going to use an American drummer, because they won't let our drummer in because of his criminal record. And we're going to use an American bass player.
Okay.
Johnny plays with LA Guns,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
yeah, which is really cool, because they're playing on the ship, so he's going to be playing with them, his band, and then he'll come and play bass with us. And we got this
Wow.
beautiful drummer, Scotty Chirillo, who we used the last time we did the cruise. So
Okay.
we get to Los Angeles. We're going to rehearse for like a couple of days, and at night we'll go and play at the Whiskey, and
And
then
then you've got I don't know how many shows, but then you return to Australia after that. I think you go through till May.
oh yeah, I actually in Australia, we our last gig for the year, and I think there's only 2 or 3 gigs in October. It's the early part of October. We go right up to October.
Okay.
And
I didn't see
then
those
we're going to use that rest of the year. Then we'll record the album.
new albums. So the new album should be released what, early 2026?
Yes, yes.
And then there'll be one final tour. You're bringing back the past members that are able to participate, or is it going to
Yes.
be like, is it going to be them for the whole tour, or is it going to be some shows these people, some shows those people, but as many as you can
Well,
get back?
we've got a lineup now.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's the band. But
yeah,
the
for sure.
past players, Geordie Leach, who played bass, as you know, for many, many
Mhm.
years with the band, and Rob Riley, who played the band for a couple of years, and he did the Scarred for Life album. So I've
Right.
invited them to come back um, and play shows. And I want to even record songs, or want to do some songs and record with them. But that recording, time wise, will come out after the band's finished. So it'll be like a kind of final statement. But the band, the lineup that we have now, we'll see, that will be the lineup that we go through till the end with. Yeah.
Right, right. All right. Well, I thank you for your time, my friend. Don't forget to take a picture of that letter if you
Yep.
want to blot
Yep.
out anything. But yeah, I mean, I'll put on my Matlock hat and see what I can do. Like the algorithms in
Thank
Canada
you.
will reach,
Thank you.
and you never know. So have Kat send that to me. And in the meantime, I think I've asked you this a few times, but if this is the first time somebody's watched my interview with Angry Anderson, what's your favorite Canadian band, Angry?
Shows my age.
There's so many.
Um, who didn't like Backman Turner? But
BTO,
Nazareth.
BTO Nazareth, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Um,
And weren't Rush Canadian?
they certainly were. Everybody says Rush. That's the question. Like, I'll interview 150 people and ask them the question, and they'll say Rush. I'm like, is that because that's the only Canadian band you know? Like, there's Triumphs and
No,
Doors,
it's not. I
Loverboy.
tell you, they are my history,
Right,
and
right.
we worked with them when we were over there. But the band that I've enjoyed immensely in recent times, and we've toured Europe with a couple of times, is a band called The Wild.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
yeah,
they're
wild.
oh yeah, really. I mean, they live up to their name. Because I said to them, I said, chicken or egg, which came first? And they said, well, we fucking, because I said, yeah, the great thing about it, I said to them, I said, fucking, you can't live up to your name. Because they're a wild bunch of blokes on stage, but they're,
Yeah,
the thing I love about them, and like I said, we've done uh, 2 or 3 tours with them through Europe,
right,
and
right.
with great success through the clubs.
Yeah,
And so we were a great doubling through the clubs, but they embody the spirit. Like they're not a rock and roll band. They are a rock and roll band in a sense, in the spirit, but they're not a rock and roll band music genre. They're more heavy rock or rock
yeah,
because
yeah.
they don't shuffle and swing, but they've got that.
Right.
They've got this wonderful rock and roll persona, and like
Swagger.
they look, yeah. But it's just it's the attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, and they just every time we've worked with them, I'll watch part of their show, and I just think like the reason that the audiences love them over there, I can only imagine they love them at home in Canada,
Hmm.
is because they embody the spirit of rock and roll. They are so
Right.
joyous to
Yeah.
watch and listen to. I love their songs. I love their fucking songs. Even if I wasn't mesmerized by the antics, I love I love their music, which is that's the true test of because there's bands that are great to watch, and you think musically, yeah, but they're a
Yeah.
spectacle, like
That's right.
but
You got to have a
but yeah,
balance. You have to have a bit of both, correct?
yeah, and the great thing about the wild is that they, as I said to them, but the first time we ever met them, we saw them do a couple of nights, and I said, "Fuck, you can't live up to your name," because they're wild to watch, but they're just because being wild is part of the persona of rock and roll.
Yeah, they're raw. So,
Yeah,
Angry,
yeah. Mm.
what is the opposite of unsubscribe?
Unsubscribed,
What's the opposite of that?
subscribed.
Do as Angry Anderson says and subscribe to the channel, or he's going to kick your ass. Like to
I
thank
will
you
find
again.
out where you live, and I'll be knocking on your door.
You'll put on your Matlock hat.
You go.
So what I'll do is I'll put links below to your website. Obviously, I'm going to put a
Thank you.
link below of that hard road song that was played at the Bridge Hotel not too long ago. I'll put a link there too for the people to catch it. It's released February 27th, I believe.
Yes, I've done my part. I've left it to management, but yes, I think that's correct. Yes,
All right.
but I don't know that you have or haven't, but I've been asked a lot. When was the last time we recorded? And the last we re-recorded the first album some years ago with that lineup then, but previous to that, we did the last album that I wrote and recorded with Mick was in 2008, which was the album's called Blood Brothers, and it was the last album because we knew Mick was dying of cancer.
That's right.
So we wanted to record some old ideas that we had that we'd worked on, but we come up with a bunch of new songs. But it's a beautiful album. Again, it's quite a few years old now, but there's a lot of people haven't not aware of that album. So
I'll put a link below to that too.
Yeah, thank you. But it's a great album, and it's got the precursor to Hard Road, which is Black Eyed Bruiser. But I think we will take. I'm not in charge of marketing, so I can't. But I think we'll take Hard Road as a tour name through next year as well.
I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea. I think so too. I think the rest of the band are with me. I'm not too sure about the management.
Well, I mean, you hire them, so you should be in charge.
Bingo.
All right, Angry. Thanks a lot again for the chat, my friend. And
anytime, brother. Anytime for you.
I'll send Kat the link to the interview. I should have it up in the next 3 or 4 days.
Thank you, brother. Let's if we can do me a favor, let's not make this the last time we talk.
No, absolutely not. I love learning from you.
That's because I'm older.
I'll ask you one last question before I let you go.
Yeah.
What are you reading? What are you reading right now?
Well, I'm rereading The Secret History of the World, which is
very cool.
A book I've read. This is the third time through, and as with all great books, I'm getting something from it this time that I've not had or understood previously. I'm reading a couple of Australian historic books. I've just finished a book, a very recent publication on there was our mini war of independence called the Eureka Stockade, and which has played a very important part in my life, inspirational wise. And I'm reading another. What is the name of that thing? Fictional wise, I'm reading one of the Patrick O'Brien books, which is For the viewers, Patrick O'Brien was the writer of the book that the movie Master and Commander was based on.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
He's written about 30 something books about the same character.
I wrote
That
30 articles in university. 30 books.
There you are. You're on a par.
Oh man. I got a recommendation for you for a book. I'm
Sure.
reading Chaos right now by Tom O'Neill, and it's about the Charles Manson CIA links. The saga. It's called Chaos by Tom
Wow.
O'Neill. Yeah, it's very good. It's a very good book.
What did you think of that wonderful sequence at the end of what was that movie? It was DiCaprio and the guy plays. He's just this wonderful actor. Blonde-haired guy. Oh God, it's on the tip of the tongue. But he plays his body. He plays his double. His body
Fabio?
double. No. DiCaprio is the main star,
Oh yeah.
but the real star is. But at the end sequence in the movie, it's about Hollywood, right?
Right.
And I think it might be. What's the fucking name of that movie? But the end sequence is when it's fictional, obviously. It's when the Manson family break into the house.
Okay, the Tate.
And he's there. So the end of the movie is a twist on not what did happen, but what could have happened.
Right. Interesting.
What is it called?
You'll remember after we stop.
Yeah,
recording.
I will. But DiCaprio plays. He's one of the main roles.
I'll have to Google it because I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie. Really, really cool movie. Impossibly good-looking blonde guy, blue eyes.
Fabio?
No, Fabio. What is this thing with Fabio?
It's funny when he did you hear about Fabio when he was on a roller coaster years ago? It's a true story. He was on a roller coaster and he had two blonde girls on each side of him. There's a Canadian comedian that talks about it. It's a true story. They're like the Doublemint twins, right? Well, he got hit in the face by a goose when he was on this roller coaster in Canada or something, and he comes to a stop and he's got nothing but goose shrapnel on his face, and these two girls beside them are like spotless. That's why I say Fabio all the time. So you got to check it out.
You know, he was that. I mean, because that would have wounded him deeply, because he was such a vain person. But now there you go. Fabio is one of the first people. The cult of personality, blah blah blah, whatever. But he was famous for being famous. Like, what did he ever do? He was a shit ass actor. Well, he made a couple of movies, right?
He was born with good hair.
Bingo. And that chiseled look about him, and he had a good physique and all that kind of. And he was Fabio, you know. But it was all.
Put a link below that too of the joke. Oh, you're gonna laugh.
It was the way. It was the beginning when we started to realize that good publicity or the press could make or break. I mean, if you could make a star out of someone that's got fuck all to offer.
That's right. The more absurd you are, the more seen you would be.
Well, I mean, our history, our recent history, the last 20 or 30 years, is littered with people that more increasingly, right up to present day, are famous for like just being famous because they got nothing to offer.
Yeah.
And like the absurdity of, again, going back to the sadness of the trans movement and all that kind of shit. I mean, like the musical equivalent is that like that fucking moron. I can't really remember her name, but she's a brown artist. She's supposedly like you know a big deal, but she wins country album of the fucking year.
Beyonce.
Yeah,
Was it
I mean,
her?
what the
Yeah.
fuck? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
So who
She's
paid
shit
that?
house.
Yeah, I've never I mean I like country, but I mean that's all it's all marketed.
Brad Pitt.
Brad
Brad
Pitt.
Pitt.
That's the
No,
guy?
Leonardo DiCaprio and
And
Brad
Brad
Pitt.
Pitt.
What's the name of that fucking movie? Give me a second.
Okay, we'll see
You
if I
want
can
to
get it
Google it?
first. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
see. Um Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio movie about Manson. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
That's it. The closing sequence. This closing sequence is a recreation, a fictional recreation of the Manson family coming there to kill people, and he's there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I think actually he might even be tripping, but it's a very comical twist on what could have happened.
I'll tell you what, we'll set
Check
up
it out.
we'll set up a chat for when you release the new album, and by
Cool.
that
Yeah.
time what see if you can get a hold of what you can. It's called Chaos by Tom O'Neill. Check it out.
Right. Hang on a minute. Let me write that down. Chaos with a K or CH?
CHAOS. Tom O'Neill.
Tom?
Tom O'Neill. You'll love it.
Thanks, brother.
It's been another history lesson with Angry Anderson. Thanks so much, my friend. All right, take care.
Thanks, brother.
I gotta piss, so I'll edit this out. I gotta go to the bathroom real bad, man. Okay,
That's a
take
problem.
care, Angry.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm serious about getting.